All right, guys. Good morning. Hope your weekend was good. Hope no rains affected you. I know that there was some rains on Saturday. I hope everybody is safe and fine. Nobody got flooded out. All right, so we are going to continue today's lecture, which was our very first lecture. We'll do a quick review and then we'll continue on. Let me tell you all from the offset that your first in-course exam is going to be next week, Monday, and it's going to be based on this first. It will be this first one. Yes, it will be on this first lecture. So this first lecture is pretty big. So um, I know you all will do well because you all pay attention and you all ask questions, and I'm hoping that you all discuss with each other as well. And yeah, you are going to be fine. Right. All right. So I'm seeing 18 people on. So let's go. We're just going to quickly review what we did last week. We talk about some easy management definitions, and we have agreed that management is essentially utilizing organizational resources to achieve goals of the organization efficiently and effectively by planning, organizing, leading, controlling. If I were to ask that question in an exam, that's the way I would like it answered. Cogent, structured, and someone listening to that answer can clearly know that you are in full grasp of the concepts. You spoke about effective and efficient. What does effective mean? What does efficient mean? We spoke about the technical skills, the human skills, the conceptual skills. And you all could feel free to message anything as we go along if there are any issues or queries. Um, we distinguish that these technical skills that we speak about here may not necessarily be a specialty skill, meaning you do not have to be a pharmacist to be a pharmacy manager or a pharmacy industry manager or a pharmacy industry professional. Yes, you may have to be a pharmacy manager for pharmacy operations. That would be a good idea. It would be a good idea to have that, but it's not a necessary tool. And it's something that you can look at as well, where um, you compare organizations that have been run that are pharmacists at the head versus organizations that are run that are non-pharmacists at the head or non-medical or non-engineer, whichever it is. And you can see if, it might be good. There may be some research out to see if organizations that don't have a professional, a specialist, um, a skilled professional at the head, if they perform better than those that do have a specialist professional at the head. We spoke about conceptual skills to see the organization as a whole. I am sure you all remember that I said being involved in day-to-day operations may not be able to put you in a position to see your organization run and function and to think as it's not really outside of the box thinking, but you can see the perspective that I'm saying, where you need to be able to look into your organization. You need to be able to see what your organization is doing, what it is taking in, what it is doing, what it is churning out. All right. So That's conceptual skills. We talk about why some managers fail. I know I spend a lot of time on team building skills, inability to execute on strategy, not listening to the customer. I remember, what was this in summer class? But just take note when we talk about listening to the customer, understand that all feedback is good feedback, whether be it negative feedback, whether be it harsh feedback, all feedback is good feedback from your customer because organizations exist because of their customers, nothing else. Organizations exist because of their customers. So if your customers are quarreling with you, pay attention. If your customers are praising you, be happy. But don't think that because they are quarreling with you, that means that they are wrong and you are right. No, pay attention to your customers. And when we use the word customers, just simply to mean any person who is using your service, and even in a government setting, the persons who come into the government office and request services and pay for services and utilize services, they are your customers. And it would be a good idea if if some of these ministries and government agencies look at the persons who coming to use their service as customers, and it will definitely transform the way things are done. We spoke about the management types, whether you are vertical in the hierarchical structure, or whether you are horizontal, whether you are peers amongst your management colleagues. So whether you have management bosses or management subordinates versus management colleagues. So it's vertical, horizontal. Spoke about the functional manager and the general manager. Functional manager is like a specialist in their field. General manager is in the same line as a CEO, and at times project managers operate like general managers, like CEOs in their projects, because a project manager is the person who is ultimately responsible for everything that goes on with that project team. Managerial roles are informational, interpersonal, decisional, and we spoke about phrases that characterize the old workplace versus the new workplace. And I urge you all to look at this slide number 11 and make the comparisons about what things were like before, decades before, and how things are now, and how things are progressing further in this century. We looked at forces in organization and we introduced the term pest analysis, technology, globalization. We spoke at length as to why some countries are good at manufacturing. Um, Remind me again, why are some countries good at manufacturing? Someone? Can someone remind me why China and Taiwan and Indonesia and Philippines are good at manufacturing? My chat is up and running, so it should be able to be cheap labor. Teresa, you're on the ball this morning. Yes. We call it cheap labor, yes, because that's cheap is a relative term. Um, the cost that people in those countries work for, their cost of living is low, and of course, their labor exceeds demand. So there are so many people that really are ready and willing to accept any type of work. Um, and that's just bread and butter economics. I'm sure Dr. Maharaj will be going through pharmacoeconomics with you all. There's a subspecialty called health economics. Economies are about supply and demand. As ugly as it is at times, that's the reality. We would all like to have persons in those countries working perhaps in better conditions, working for better salaries, but the reality is supply and demand, and that's how economies work That's how you get your value chain creation. It has to start somewhere. And we could think of some of you, well, you all wouldn't know, but um, I am I am or was or used to, even during my university years, I used to be a coffee and cocoa farmer. So I know what it is like to be at the very start of the value chain, where you are the farmer and the amount of work that has to be put in to get the raw material, to get the product, and then it's sold at a particular price, which will be comparatively very low, and then transformed into products that can fetch high values. So right here in Trinidad and Tobago, we're using the coffee and the cocoa example. Um, I know Marshall Montano, the soca artist, and other people, they now are investing heavily in cocoa and authentic chocolates that fetch really nice prices at supermarkets. So we just using this to discuss um, the whole labor issue, supply and demand. So globalization, workforce diversity. With respect to technology, outsourcing, joint ventures, alliances, those things are real forces in organizations. And the innovative response was to value change and to embrace opportunities in times of chaos. And I don't know if I mentioned it to you all in, I can't remember if I mentioned it in last class, but where, I'll type it in here so you can have it. When people worry, there is opportunity. Tell me, what do you interpret by that statement, guys and gals? Tell me what I mean by that, or what do you interpret by when I say when people worry, there is opportunity. Let me get some feedback from you all, because it ties into slide number 13, where I am saying organizations must embrace and identify opportunities within times of chaos, turbulence, and unpredictable external environments. So tell me, what do I mean? When people worry, there's opportunity. I'm not sure if I mentioned this phrase, causes them to critically think. When it's I like the answers flying in here, man. Teresa and Samantha, good. I really like to get responses from you all. Um, Causes them to critically think. Yes, of course. And when you critically think, what comes up when you critically think? Teresa, tell me what happens when you think critically. Samantha, when a situation bothers someone, they eventually do something about it. Yes, again, there's some good statements, innovative ideas. Chelsea, yes, explore ideas. I like Samantha's one, where when a situation bothers someone, they eventually do something about it. And there is a term that has been used in Jahil Monan boy. Necessity is the mother of invention. Nice. This is a bright class. Bradley, worrying opens up an avenue for failure, success, failure or success. I'm assuming you're saying success, ultimately harsh decision making. Jahil, right? Yes. Okay, good. So I like these things. Yes, Teresa, you critically think and you create ideas. You come up with ideas, you explore ideas, and you're in line with Chelsea. And Chelsea, you know me, I'm an innovative guy. I like innovation and like being creative. And by doing those things, when you critically think about a situation and people are worried, you think about it and you come up with an innovative solution to what do we do with this innovative solution? What is the purpose of this innovative idea? Jahil, what is the purpose of your invention? It might seem like a stupid answer, but it's the answer. What do we do with innovative ideas? What do we do with inventions? Teresa, Jahil, Chelsea, Samantha, to fix whatever you're worried about. Correct. To find a solution. So in times of worry, develop them ties back to creating new opportunities. Um, creating new opportunity. Right. You're confusing me there, Samantha. Yes, there is an opportunity when people worry, and that opportunity is to provide a solution to the problem that is at hand. So when people start to worry, and I'm just saying simply, when people start to worry about um, uh, uh, we could do coronavirus. People are worrying about coronavirus and mask wearing, um, and catching it. There is the opportunity now for healthcare professionals to assist them through this tough, difficult time, and that is where you can now generate and create your revenue. All right, that's where you can now create a entire value chain as well. All right, so the point is the point is to um, always look at when people worry, they are in need of a solution, and you need to think about it. And once you can create a solution for their problems, by all means, you can charge them for your service. You can charge them a fee for your solution. That's the bread and butter of business. All right, that's the bread and butter of enterprise. So very good. I'm very happy to see these responses. Those are very good responses. Excellent, excellent, guys. All right, and I think I spoke extensively about research and development. Um, Acknowledging that in times of financial crisis, research and development is the one that is the first department that gets its budget cut. But it's a very important thing for all organizations to be constantly researching and developing new strategies and new solutions to problems. We distinguish between coaching and mentoring. How does a coach operate and how does a mentor operate? Right? They're very similar, but it's now the way to go to coach and mentor versus control and command, managing relationships, relationship management, team building. I don't know if I introduced this to you all last week. I can't remember if I mentioned the team building as an important exercise. I don't know if I mentioned the term high performance team and what it meant and what these are. A high performance team, I'll let you know now. A high performance team is a group of individuals that comprise a team that do not require supervision. They are highly qualified, they are highly competent, they know what they're about, and they operate very similar to how project officers and project teams operate. Very efficient, results oriented, and does not require supervision. So just throwing in that term, the high performance team, as we're talking about team building. And I would want all of you to make yourself into a member, or see if you can develop yourself in such a way that you can always be considered to be part of a high performance team, someone who can work, deliver, get results, and do not require constant supervision and constant instruction. Okay? And so far, with all the intelligence I'm seeing here, I'm sure that's not going to be a difficult thing. And we spoke about crisis and unexpected events and crisis management being the order of the day, and we used our daily coronavirus briefing in TNT, and I asked you all to look at others throughout the world. We spoke about staying calm using emotional intelligence. Can someone remind me what emotional intelligence is about? Tell me, guys, what is emotional intelligence about? Empathy, Alyssa. Understand? Wow, look at how bright you all are, Alicia and Teresa and Shakila. What? This is very good. You all, I'll have to set a really hard exam now. Just kidding, just kidding. Right. So this, yes, very correct. Understanding, emotional intelligence is about understanding others, empathy, understanding their situation, not sympathy, empathy, understanding their situation and helping them through it. It is very important in a company so that only humans can. Right, right, very good, very good. Samantha, I don't know her, but I suspect this thing may soon be able to do have emotional intelligence as well. What is AI? Put it into the chat. What is AI? It's a buzzword these days, and it's the future, and it's replacing artificial intelligence. Yes, Bradley, correct. Yes, Samantha. Artificial intelligence uh, is actually the future of the world. Yes, Shakila. Artificial intelligence right now allows trucks to drive for themselves. Artificial intelligence allows cars to drive for themselves. I saw an article this week that a man was charged in the States for sleeping whilst his self driving car drove him somewhere. So, artificial intelligence maybe, if not already, can produce emotional intelligent outputs. I'm sure I mentioned to you all a guy by the name of Elon Musk. There are even restaurants that operate fully on AI. Yes, restaurants that fully use full robotics. Yes, yes, Bradley, I saw this. Yes, I remember seeing this. Yes, Chelsea, Tesla, Tesla. He was driving a Tesla. Um, I I I was about to say something. I have a senior moment here. Um, right. So this Tesla and Elon Musk again, they are very close. They're very close to allowing a computer to interpret your thoughts. This is big. This is real big. They are very close and they have tested it on monkeys already. That let's just say you don't have hands, you don't have your hands, you're paralyzed. This computer can now take your thoughts and turn it into words. It's some real amazing stuff that's happening with artificial intelligence. I urge you all to keep looking at the trend of artificial intelligence, not only for this course, but for your future as well. You all are young future pharmacists, young future managers, young future managers, and artificial intelligence is definitely something that's going to be present from now straight perhaps until the end of the century. It is going to be amazing. All right. So good. Right. We spoke about being visible. Do not delegate. Putting people before business. Telling the truth. Knowing when to get back to business. Don't just focus on emotional and physical needs, but at the end of the day, an organization is an organization. Whether be it for profit or not for profit, it's an organization with a purpose. And that purpose in for profit is to get back to business. They have shareholders, they have salaries to pay. For a non-profit, there is an objective that needs to get achieved. All right. So knowing when to get back to business. So, any questions on this first part? Any questions, guys, before we move on to the second part of the lecture, which is the historical perspective of management? No questions? All right, good. Okay, so we're going to move on to the historical perspective of management and the evolution of management thinking. We're on slide number 17 right now. Right. So management has been around for about 2,500 years, and there's this guy by name of Sun Tzu. He wrote a book called The Art of War that still is used today in military-based organizations, in political-based organizations, and in highly competitive industries. The art of war, because some persons you go through their daily operations thinking as though they are in a war setting. All right, war without the hurt and the harm and the death, but war in terms of strategy. All right, um, and here again we're reminded about the pest analysis, um, social forces, political forces, economic forces, and the last one is the T is technological. So these social forces are the norms and values that characterize a culture. In the early days, workers were treated poorly, but within more recent times, there have been a drive to having much more acceptable conditions of workers. Now, the reality is that in some industries and um, in some types of organizations, working conditions are still a bit poor. You might want to look at times in the construction industry, especially the unregulated construction industry, in sanitation. You might look at the conditions of some of these workers not being optimum in certain parts of the world. So social forces have influenced management theory areas in areas such as motivation and leadership. And motivation and leadership, guys and gals, motivation and leadership are actually two subspecialties of management. Um, I would have liked for us to be doing a leadership course as well. It's a nice, interesting field. Leadership is definitely related to and matches well with management competencies. Maybe later on they might do a separate course on it. Right. So, which one do you fall into? Certainly, none of your parents would should be, at least I would think so, would be born between 1900 and 1945. The baby boomers were 1946 to 1964. Generation X were considered to be the hippie age, where there was a lot of nice, liberal, free thinking, um, marijuana smoking, social movements, especially in the US in this period of time. Generation Y, not even, I think some of you should be part of this generation, 1981 to 2000. Those of you who would have been born 1995, 1997, you all are Generation Y, which is the millennials, the nexters, the echo boomers. And The purpose of doing this is to show that for each generation there were different things that they felt that they needed at work or in life generally. The baby boomers wanted money and title, recognition, corner office. Generation X is, as I said, freedom is the ultimate reward. And Generation Y, which is you guys and me to a certain extent, work has meaning. Work that has meaning for me. You want to work. You want to work for something with a purpose, and I want you to compare this to what existed before. Shroom, mushroom, Bradley saying shrooms, ecstasy. Actually, I think ecstasy or whatever they call it, however they call it. I think that came up in the 90s, but in the 80s it was marijuana, cocaine. Okay, it was those drugs that made those drugs made somebody rich, somebody very rich. Does anyone know who it is? Can anyone tell me what did this um, Generation X in the 80s in the US and then all over the world? It made a particular group of people. Ah, Jahil, you're on point. Pablo, that's right. That's right. You all watched did you all watch the series Narcos? Have you all looked at Narcos? I'm assuming everybody looked at Narcos. And there's another one called of course. Narcos was enjoyable. It was enjoyable. There's some follow-ups to Narcos. Samantha. Also, we have two Samanthas. We have a Samantha Chattergun and we have a Samantha Ali. So just like I have to say Kavita P and Kavita R, I have to say Samantha C and Samantha A. Alexis, you started. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So you all will enjoy Narcos. Um, just just careful you don't get too mentally caught up in what's going on, how they do. The show wasn't all that brutal, but these things influences are influences nonetheless, and it can color the way you think, it can color the way you look at things. There's another one called El Chapo as well, which talks about Chapo Guzman, the Mexican guy who led up, and you will see in Narcos, in some parts where there is the Trinidadian connection. You'll have to kind of read between the lines to see when it started, and if you think back in history, you realize it made sense as to when this actually started. Well, had an interaction with Trinidad. All right, so good, nice distraction. So, um, work that has meaning for me, Generation Y. We all want to work for a company that does good things. We want to work for a company that we want to work for an organization that is prominent. We want to, those are the things that we look for now in our jobs. The political forces are governmental regulations that these definitely play an important role in how organizations manage themselves. And we can look at political, and I'm just going to draw a very easy example for you to reflect on. There are some countries that are very strongly religious based, and they do influence how an organization is run, if an organization is certainly allowed. And then, other than religious based, there are countries that are either communist or socialist, and as a result, they influence how, or they screen rather the type of organizations that can operate in their place. Um, let's just go with an example here. Burger King, McDonald's. Which country would they have difficulty in setting up? Which country? Which country would Burger King and McDonald's have difficulty setting up? North Korea. North Korea has difficulty setting up any company because North Korea has isolated themselves from the entire world. So they are very actually there is a McDonald's. I can't no, there isn't a McDonald's. Jahil, Cuba. So you all are looking at communist-based countries, but we could get to we could discuss communist-based countries. Yes, India due to beef. Thank you, Samantha. That's right, Samantha. See, India due to beef. Right? Yes, Shakila, correct. India. Now, yes, there are many persons in India who consume beef. There are persons who consume beef, but traditionally, generally speaking, it's a country that that adores the cow and considers the cow sacred and those types of things. So, having a McDonald's, which is a beef-based meal, setting up in that country is going to have some difficulties. All right. Um, let's think of another example of, oh, you all would know this TikTok. Where is TikTok getting difficulty right now? Where is TikTok getting difficulty right now? You all know what TikTok is, right? I'm sure, right? Hey, Teresa, yeah. Teresa, Precious, and Kavita P. And Shanice, way. I couldn't expect a faster typing than that. Yes. The US is about to ban the downloads of TikTok in that country because of the ongoing issue of security threat by the Chinese government, and of course it's probably all part of the trade war as well. So yes, so I'm happy to see that you can grasp what I'm saying from the perspective um, of political forces and how they play a significant role in being able to set up, and if they do set up, how much influence the political forces are going to have in how they manage themselves. All right. Um, good, great, good to go so far. Very nice interactive stuff going on. I'm happy to see that. I'm happy to know that even though we're doing a YouTube live, that we're still able to interact. Economic forces, these are the ideas behind a concept of market economy, private ownership of property, economic freedom, competitive markets, and a limited role for government. Now, um, there is a country right in the Caribbean that offers. Let me see if you all can name the country. The country offers citizenship for investment. Which country is that? There is a Caribbean country that offers citizenship for investment. Can anyone tell me what country is that? I'll give you all a hint. It starts with S. Come on, guys. Teresa, Precious, Kavita P, and Shanice was quick on the draw just now to call out America, US, and I mentioned TikTok. Yes, Teresa, St. Lucia, Leandra, correct. St. Lu- oh, Google's, hey, horrible, 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 horrible. Without your phone, you see, this is why this was it took so quick to do a Google search to find out which. Hey, unfair, unfair. You see why we used to have to study these hard exams for you all. You see why? This is why because you have so much information at your fingertips that if we ask straightforward questions, you're all gonna give us straightforward answers. So we're gonna be asking questions that require you to think and to apply yourself. Samantha, you guessed? Samantha, are you guess? All right. Okay, I'll take your word for it. Um, okay, let me see if you all will figure this one out. There is another country, and I'm not going to give any hints, that is offering the purchase of Jahil. I do have Google, so I mean, yeah, Jahil. I'll do a special example for you, right? There is a country that is offering the sale of houses for $1 because and you all guess the country, and then we can discuss why they're offering it for $1. Let me see how quick your Google is. Let me see how quick let me see if your internet's sticking. For yeah, it's saying Google's sticking. Y'all are funny people there. But Teresa was on point. Leandra was on point before everyone. Then Alexis, Shakila, Samantha A. Come on, guys. Which country? Tell me so I can go there and yeah. Kavita P. You know it. Leandra Guyana. Is that true? Sinke Fondi. So this one. What is what is Sinke? What is Sinke Fondi, Alexis? Yes, it's what is Sinke Fondi? What is that? Anyhow, Kavita P. You're correct. Italy. Shakila. Correct. Italy. Um. Leandra. You guessed. You guessed. Guyana actually is making it very difficult for persons to go now, and we'll discuss that just now. Yes, Kavita P. It's an Italian town that is offering their houses for $1. Now tell me why. And it's kind of obvious. Tell me why. Samantha C. Yes. That's a town in Italy. Yes. Leandro, I guess Guyana, yes, but that's Guyana. Alexis, you didn't tell me what Sinke Fondi is. I don't know what Sinke Fondi is, unless Fondi. Maybe that's the town in it. That's the town in Italy. No, Alexis, it's that's the name of the town. Okay. It's COVID free. That's why. I'm getting some real entertainment here this morning. It's not I don't think it's COVID free. Reduced travel. They were offering this sale way before coronavirus. So no, that's what Google's saying because it's corona free. They tried to leave during COVID. Kavita R. What you mean they tried to leave? Shakila, you won. Shakila won this. Shakila won this one. Because of depopulation, I don't know if that's a term, Shakila, because they wanted to repopulate their town. It's a rural town, but they wanted to get it back going. And to get back a town going, you need to have people there. You need to have people there. So that's why they were encouraging persons to come and inhabit, yes, to repopulate. Very good, Shakila. You got it. Shakila got it. To repopulate the town so that you can now create an economy right there, a small microeconomy in that town. All right. So yes, good, good, nice discussion. I'm happy to see that everybody's awake. Good. So let me any more comments that I have to. Right. Good. Very good. Economic forces are the ID right. So we spoke about private ownership, economic freedom, competitive markets, and a limited role for government. Now, this limited role for government is always a good thing because in enterprise, uh, governmental influence should not be too great, and neither should it be non-existent. Government is supposed to be a regulatory body that can do its work to collect its due taxes, that can do its work and facilitate. Now, government should, and I'm going to tell you, government is supposed to facilitate the development of organizations, private enterprise to sustain themselves, to create jobs, and to make the economy turn. What is that term I'm speaking of? A government should facilitate private enterprise developing themselves by providing the necessary infrastructure and the environment for them to survive. What is that term called? What is that term called? Come on, guys. Come on, guys. Hmm. Google sticking again. Google Reels sticking. What is that term called? I think I mentioned this. Which class? Oh, I mentioned this in institutional. So those of you who are in institutional should know this term. I mentioned this term last week, and I'm not giving any hints. If I give any hints, it's going to be sold out. Wow! Imagine an entire minute passed and no one was able to Google this quickly enough. A government should facilitate private enterprise from growing their organizations, becoming profitable, and doing well on their own with the least amount of interference. And they do this by providing infrastructure and guidance. What is this term called? Nobody, the Kavitas, the Samanthas, Alexis, Shakila, Jahil, Brandon. Nobody knows what this term is? Nobody from Insti class? Hmm? Leandra, you were in my summer class as well. I don't know if you were in Insti in summer. Teresa, Shanice, Precious. Nobody knows this term? Come on, guys. So I really need to give a hint. Regulation? No. Remember, we are saying that yes, they should have regulation. Regulation is all part of it. It's part of it, but we don't want too much regulation because too much regulation can cause bureaucracy and red tape. What's the term? Do you all want a hint? You guys want a hint? Videsh Gurdine. I think this is the first time I'm seeing you, so good morning. Privatization. No, that's not the term. Privatization is where uh, private entities, for-profit organizations purchase a government service and they now Kezi plan Kezi what yes, plan equals blueprint, yes. But how that isn't what we're talking about here. I don't, what was that, Kezi? Plan does equal a blueprint, yes, but it's not relevant to this question I'm asking. Explain to me how plan equal blueprint is your answer to my question. Kezi, I'm waiting on an answer. So Videsh, no, not privatization. Anybody else? Urban governance? No, 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 no. Samantha A. The other Samantha is what's Samantha? Political will? No, 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 no. We have a Samantha Ali and we have a Samantha C. Okay, good. Samantha A, Samantha A, Samantha C. Micro enterprise Chelsea? No, nope, 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 nope. Deficit. Where all these terms coming from? Plan equal blueprint, urban governance, political will, migrant death. Where are these things coming from? I think you'll need a hint. Okay, the word starts with E. The word starts with E, and it's related to an organization, a microcosm of an organization, a department of an organization. You being the head of that department, you being the head of this team, you being the head of this organization. Thank you very much, Chelsea. Thank you. I can't believe I had to give away this hint. Empower. So we want governments to provide the right environment for private organizations to empower themselves to create, to generate revenue, to generate job. Thank you very much, Chelsea. Well done. Good. Kavita is saying private sector engagement. So the E is not for engagement. Well, engagement is a good E, yes, Kavita P, but it's not the word I'm looking for. I was looking for empower. Private sectors would become empowered when they have a government that is providing good regulations, that is providing infrastructure that is needed, that a small private organization or even a few private organizations cannot produce for themselves. For example, a road, for example, facilitation of electricity infrastructure, um, um, security infrastructure of a national police. So the government is supposed to just put certain things in place to facilitate the empowerment of private organizations to take the lead and to go. All right. So good. Nice discussion this morning. I see we are at 10 to, so let's take a break and we'll come back at 10:05 and continue our second part where we're looking at classical perspectives of management. Okay. So we're going to take a break now. I'll come back at 10:05. Break. Return at 10:05. Good.